But we only have him for a while. So Don Hewitt, the professor, is here, like I said. Don, how's the week been? You went to Minneapolis.
I wanted to tell Craig about that little trip and then go from there if I could.
Craig Reynolds.
Could I start that?
Craig Reynolds is here. He's in the studio. Let's fly. Let's keep it loose.
Yeah. So it's interesting because it just happened. So once every couple of years, our family goes down to Minnesota to watch the Vikings. I'm a Vikings fan. And because my son was a Washington Commander fan, we went on Sunday. So I'm leaving the Vikings game, and I'm saying to my other son, I'm saying, I'm not as thrilled this time for the first time ever to see the Vikings, and I think it's because the Roughriders won the Grey Cup. And he said to me, well, yeah, the Roughriders represent where we are from. And that's the difference. And it hit me. That was totally correct. Yeah. And the way I felt after the Roughriders won the Grey Cup a month ago, I know I could never have even a semblance of the joy I felt with any other sports team. So I guess where I'm going with this is, first thing I notice when I get home is, the American government's going to go after Canadian fertilizer, which means Saskatchewan potash. I'm going, oh my Lord. I thought about it and I thought I was feeling bad just to go down there for 2 days, the U.S. for 2 days, but I promised my son. And so what I was going to ask you, Craig, is, and I'd love to keep talking about the Grey Cup, I still will, but anyway, have you seen, either with the Roughriders or throughout the league, have you seen fans starting to rethink supporting the CFL because it's all the franchises are in Canada, it's the Canadian Football League, and what's going on with the United States? Have you seen any movements towards let's support Canada with the CFL and the Roughriders?
Yeah, I think we did. I think that was probably this season. I think we saw a fair bit of that. Like, I think if you sort of even saw this CFL sort of marketing angle, there was a bit of sort of subtle Canadiana there, certainly with their TV spots. So I think we kind of lean into that a fair bit. And honestly, I think we saw that with the support we got this year, right? I think people were maybe choosing to spend their money locally and at home. And so I think that certainly helped us. And it probably was like that across the league, I would guess.
Okay. Schedule release today.
Yeah.
Let's dive into this. I love the fertilizer story, though, Don.
I wasn't sure where Don was going. I'm not sure I have enough fertilizer knowledge.
I wasn't sure where I was going either.
Okay, you've been on here before, and you talked about how you have data and research, and you talk to fans from all over the province on what they prefer, what sells, basically. Yeah. Schedule's released today. What do you like about it? Where's the sweet spot for you?
Yeah, I think a couple things. So obviously having 10 regular season home games is pretty unique and special, and obviously we knew that was coming. But to make that official today, obviously one being the away game against the Argos, where we're the home team. So that's pretty special, right there. Preseason game in Saskatoon. I've been super pumped about that since we announced that. We've wanted to do that for a long time. Hosting an Argo game here allowed us to do that. Yeah. I know the city of Saskatoon's very excited every time I'm up there. They're talking about that. That's
1991. I was there.
It was a long. Were you? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Mullet and all.
Yeah, I probably begged my parents to go, but I didn't get that opportunity.
Foam Lake, you're busy.
Yeah, we're busy in Foam Lake. Well, it's seating time.
Yeah.
So I think that's special as well. I think with the schedule, as long as there's a good balance, I think that's what works best for us. So Saturday would be our preferred for sure. So, and we've heard that consistently from fans. That tends to work best for out-of-town fans, which, I tend to look at the schedule from that out-of-town perspective first, because Foam Lake, right?
Yeah.
Like, I remember making that trip, and so many of our fans travel so far to get to our game. So I look at the out-of-town perspective. We have 5 Saturdays, a couple of them early afternoons as well. So you're getting home in good time. Even the 5 o'clock starts, that's good. And it's good for families, and that's been really our focus, is trying to get families out to the ballpark, and I think we've done a lot of things over the last couple of years to do that. So that helps there. Then you sprinkle in a couple Friday night games. Those are special too. There's an atmosphere at Friday night games in Saskatchewan, and so you've got that. Even the Smoke game, going back to this year, that was a very unfortunate weather related game, but the atmosphere there prior to that was absolutely electric, and that was a Friday night game. So Friday night games in Saskatchewan are pretty special as well. So you've got a couple of those. So it's a good overall balance, especially when you consider the World Cup impacts. Like, I was expecting it to be more challenging than it was, and I give credit to the CFL schedule maker to manage it the way that he did, because you've got two venues that are really offline most of the summer.
How much does the football ops team play into it as questions? And I'm sure you guys go back and forth a bit. And then how much is it dictated by TSN?
Yeah, a little bit of everything, right? So TSN certainly has a say. They'll prefer certain times and days and
rightly so.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. They're trying to drive TV ratings as are we. For us, there's that balance. There's the football perspective on the schedule, and there's the fan perspective on the schedule. And you like this schedule where it lined up where they both are in pretty good shape. But we would get versions of the schedule where the football guys loved it, right? Like, in terms of marginal day prep and things that they look at. But from a fan perspective, it's not good. And then vice versa, we get some that from a fan perspective, you're like, wow, this is perfect. And you look at the football perspective, and we got 3 5-day turnarounds, and we're playing three games off, or teams coming off a bye, like things that are just not good to allow you to win football games. So you have to balance it. You got to really weigh those things, because it's very important, as to set yourself up for success, to have a schedule that helps you win football games.
Now, it seems like the league is very slowly going to maybe warmer weather for their seasons. I mean, you've still got the Grey Cup on the 15th this year in Calgary, which is still a week historically ahead of before, and you had a really nice weather day in Winnipeg for sure when you won the Grey Cup. Next year, you're even a week earlier, I believe, when you host the Grey Cup here, Craig, in Saskatchewan. Is that where you generally are going? Because, I mean, I talk to older people, of course, because of my own age, but I have so many people tell me, you know what, I just can't go to that game, it's too cold.
Yeah, no, and that's what we're finding. Certainly, post-COVID, it's there's challenges getting people to come out to games, when you've got potential weather challenges, that just makes that much more difficult. So yeah, we've always been supportive as an organization about shifting the season up a little bit, and I get it. There's conflicts on the other side too, but from a weather perspective, you don't have to shift the season much to really avoid that potential, I'll call it scary weather, where it's minus 20 out and it's almost dangerous, right? So look at the Grey Cup. It's going to be November 7th, 27, pardon me, and like November 7th can be quite nice, and your odds of it being dramatically cold are not good. And then you think about backing that up, the playoff games, they're in late October, and as we saw this year, it's a couple times in late October, it's beautiful out, and so you don't have that weather issue,
and you don't have a home game in November this year.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The schedule,
Yep.
Sorry, Barney.
You can follow the pattern of golf courses. I find in the last few years, right, they're staying open longer.
Yep.
Like the weather change, and
right.
it happens with football as well. High school, junior. It seems like the one thing that jumped out at me right away when I looked at it, because I'm always like, when are they playing in Montreal?
Yeah.
Maybe I can go to the game in Montreal. Back-to-back games. At the end of the season. Yeah,
that was interesting when we saw that, and this version of the schedule was actually completed just prior to the Grey Cup, so we didn't know at the time that we were going to be playing Montreal in the Grey Cup, and then have that back to back. But yeah, and the first I believe the first stretch of that is in Montreal for Thanksgiving, and they get a really good crowd. That's a big deal, the Thanksgiving Monday game in Montreal, so it's gonna be cool to be part of that.
Okay, let's I want to get to, you talked a bit about ticket prices and people coming and to the game. Uptick since the Grey Cup. Have you guys seen that? And with the schedule being released pre-Christmas, makes a lot of sense there too.
Yeah, we were really happy with the schedule getting out as early as it did. Like, I remember last year it dragged a little bit, and that's tough. That's tough when you're making decisions around going to games or buying flex packs or whatever the case may be. So getting out prior to Christmas this early is really good. People can look at the schedule, start to plan their summers. We're really excited. We're excited about the 10 regular season games. Just from a value perspective, we think there's huge value there for season ticket members. And to answer your question, Barney, we've seen a really nice uptick. Nice. So we had a good year last year with new season tickets, and we're over double of what we sold at this point compared to last year.
Wow.
So that's really, really positive. So great response there. And then renewals are really strong
kidding.
too, which is all, also,
I would hope so. Come on, what else do you want?
Also very important.
Unless you move from here, you better be buying.
Yeah, so no, it's been awesome. Our fans have been, the response just to the Grey Cup win in general, the merch has just been outstanding.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, about the response, I wanted to ask you one story. Now, you were good enough to bring the Grey Cup up to Tom Shepard's room, the former president.
Yeah.
And that was a great gesture of yourself. You brought Jeremy O'Day and Mark Mueller, and Tom was thrilled. And
yeah, he was.
What he told me, and he said, well, it was so tremendous, so great, but it took him 40 minutes to leave Wascana Rehab when they left my room. Because so many people are excited and thrilled about it. Tell me about that experience and what happened there.
That was a great experience. First of all, to get it to Tom, and we tried to surprise him with the Grey Cup, and he was having none of it. My phone was blowing up. Are you bringing the cup? Are you bringing the cup? The nurses need to know because they got to wear green. And so anyway, it was funny. So we surprised him with the cup, and I surprised him that Mark and Jeremy were coming with us. But nice. To see the response whenever you go anywhere with a cup, especially that early on, is just incredible. And he's not exaggerating. It took us about 40 minutes to leave there, and we were in no rush because people were just in awe of that thing. And it probably had 100 pictures, and I'm not even exaggerating, probably 100 pictures taken, and people wanted to hold it, people wanted to, look at it. And it just meant a ton for us to see the patients do that, and then the staff too, like the response from both patients and staff. So that was special. We were able to right away the first week, so the Friday right after we won the Grey Cup, we snuck up to Saskatchewan and took her to the Children's Hospital. Same thing. See the kids who were battling some tough health situations, just their response to the cup, and then again the staffing and the nurses and the people, the healthcare workers. It's amazing to see people light up when that thing enters the room. My
brother-in-law is the pulmonary pediatrician. So a picture with you and him. He was all excited. He's probably like one of the kids. He would have been one of the most exciting.
And it was we walked up the elevator one in the NICU, and like the screaming and yelling, like it was just like Sunday night before. Amazing. With like the elation from the cup being there. It was really cool.
Yeah, and so many of them. Especially Wascana Rehab, they don't get out a lot.
Yeah.
And for you to bring the Grey Cup to them, there's probably no words they could use.
No, it was one guy, he grabbed me and he said, I'm going to remember this moment the rest of my life. And I just thought, man, that's the impact that this cup has on people and this team has on people.
The flex packs, and you said, everything's looking up. I know being 48 years old, I don't know if I've ever told you my theory on rider games with people in my demographic. It's like more than ever, people have cabins and boats. We're in the same demo, right?
Yep.
Like
and kid commitments.
Yeah, and you look back to the early 2000s. Well, you look at some of these lakes, north, south, wherever, though it weren't developed. Yep. So those are all our people, right? Where now if it's, we got to get out there, we got to get on the lake, we got to get on the boat and all that. So the flex packs, when I talk to people, it makes a lot of sense because they can't commit, but they still want to go.
Yeah, and you still get it at a reduced rate.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. You can just take 5 people to 2 games or 2 people to 5 games, right? Like it just really works out well there. And I think that's part of, when you look at this sort of post-COVID, I think COVID changed a lot of things. And exactly that, going to your cabin, going to the lake, like people couldn't travel the way they used to. So they bought boats and they bought cabins sometimes. And so I think there is a little bit of that. It's harder and harder to get, convince people to get the games. And I think flex packs are just one of the ways where they can kind of commit on their terms.
And that partnership with co-op. For $20, like joking aside, people are saying, well, you can't even go to some junior hockey games.
No, it's so good, and we sort of soft launched that last year, and then this year we're gonna make a big splash around it because it's just such good value. Like $20 all in, that's taxes included. You get to a CFL game and watch now we can say the defending Grey Cup champions play football
in a swank stadium.
In the best stadium.
A lot of people haven't been in that stadium. Like it is just fact, and they're
awesome.
Like, well, we get to go to the stadium. That's worth $20 right there. Yeah.
I was going to say, and I've said this a few times on my little Tuesday get-togethers with Barney here, that the genesis of the 2025 Grey Cup Championships was really at the end of the 23 season when you decided you needed a head coaching change, but you had belief in the general manager in Jeremy O'Day, And of course, you gave him a 3-year contract because you were going to match that with the head coach. You turned out to be right. And a lot of people didn't think you were at that time, Craig, as you well know. How gratifying. I mean, I know you don't feel this is about you or anything. You worry about your organization as the leader of the organization, but how gratifying in different ways was it that this turned out that after you made that decision, you went to the Western Final, then you won the Grey Cup?
Yeah, well, first, I'm just so happy for Jeremy. I really am, to have him hoist that Grey Cup and have, us to have that team success. So I certainly look at from the team perspective, and yeah, just going back to that, I just, you have to take, in sports can be very emotional, and you have to take emotion out of the equation and try to look at what's the best course of action for the franchise, like you said, for the team. And that's something that, I know Jeremy looks at that when he's making any decision, what's best for the team. And I certainly, want to do that and try to do that in everything that every decision that comes across my desk as well. And I just really believe that Jeremy was an outstanding general manager in our league, as respect across the league, and I had every belief that he was going to find us an outstanding head coach, and did he ever?
Did he? He did. Yeah.
It'd be awesome though to have a Canadian version of a Netflix series to follow him around throughout the year. The phone calls, the late at night, got to find an old lineman, got to do this. Like there'd be so much to that job when you break it down, where everybody, and it, like you said to yourself, right? You're in a position that you're going to get criticized. It doesn't matter how it is. But I would love to actually see how he works things, the phones in this league to make things happen. I kind of want to ask you on the heels of this about the staff cap. Do you think that will eventually move? We see Huffnagel and Barker going to Toronto. We like for new blood, for young people to get coaching and helping in the CFL. You got to be able to make a living though as well. Do you think that'll change soon?
Yeah, I don't. I think as a league, we'll look at that every year. I just speak from our team. It's never impacted our ability to do any. What we want to do. We added a coach this last year, young Josh Donnelly from the
He's
Rams.
good luck.
Yeah, he's outstanding luck and a great young coach, and was really a big help to our OC Mark Mueller. And so we're able to do those. We were able to extend Jeremy and Corey, retain our coaching staff from last year. So it really hasn't impacted us. We just look at it as a budget, and every business has a budget, and that's just one of the areas we budget.
The good news is the players want to stay here if they can, and the coaches and your assistant general manager also. I'm sure Hamilton wanted him, but he loved, working here. And Jeremy O'Day, I know when you were thinking about this 2 years ago, I mean, he's such a team builder, isn't he? He builds a team and he empowers everybody around him. Yeah,
he's just an outstanding leader, and he puts the team first in everything he does. He knows what a successful team looks like because he's been on, this is, I think, his 4th Grey Cup championship, as a player or as an executive. Right. So he knows what it takes to win in this league, and he knows what makes a successful team, and he knows about the people around him as well. And you mentioned Kyle and Paul Jones, Larry Dean was a great add to our organization. But yeah, I've just been so excited about the level of commitment that we're seeing from folks, and what Jeremy and Corey are building here. And you see it from Kyle and Jeremy and Corey themselves. Right?
Yeah, I don't think anybody else has 4 out of the 5 Grey Cup rings.
So one was with Toronto. He won one in Toronto his first year in the league as a player.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he won 07, 13, and then 25. Yeah. But he's one of very few with 3. Yeah, that from our team. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you maybe give us a look, or can you say anything about are the Governors committed to keeping same number of Canadians on the roster past the CBA? Do you know anything there?
Yeah, no, that's encoded in the CBA, and that's not something that's an active conversation.
Perfect.
The Canadian content is key to the league, and we're wildly supportive of it, obviously, and I think
good.
And it's good, and obviously I think the teams that are successful have depth at the Canadians and have strength at the Canadian positions, and I think that's one thing. If we're giving Jeremy and team and Kyle and Paul and the entire team credit on it, it's their drafting of Canadians. You look at the Canadian talent on our team and the depth of it, and our depth was tested this year, especially at the receiver position, and we had a lot of Canadian depth this year. And
congratulations to Jeremy today for re-signing Jamarcus Hardwick. He was the best blocker in the CFL, according to PFF, grade of 84.4, number one. It was interesting because before the Grey Cup game, when I saw him sign today, I won't say his name, but there was a certain Russian for Montreal who said for the Grey Cup game, I am going to seek and destroy. He seeked, but he got destroyed because Trevor Harris wasn't even touched. So it was a great signing.
Yeah, he's speaking of guys who are great team leaders and culture builders, like
Future
Jamarcus
coach.
Hardwick. He is outstanding. And it was interesting, after the West Final, obviously the way that game ended, pure elation. But I remember going to the locker room and really just so excited. And it was interesting to see, Trevor sort of broke the team down, but he passed it right away to Jamarcus. And Jamarcus's message, I won't repeat it, but it was clear around, we've got unfinished business. And it was interesting to sort of see somebody who, had been there, done that, and just the leadership he brought to that team and will continue to bring to the team. So he was a big piece just from a leadership perspective on top of what he does on the field.
I was glad he was smoking a cigar. I was worried that the guys had forgotten to smoke cigars when they won the Grey Cup, but he had a nice big fat stogie in his mouth.
The ski goggles threw me for a loop. I thought that's a baseball.
They give you those. I didn't know that. I actually asked that afterwards. Where did you get all the ski goggles? Where they're New York gives you those, and I'm like, well, that's
we need
cool.
one for the shelf. Colson, we got to maybe eBay now or something, find one if that's even still a thing. The turf. I want to ask you about the turf at Mosaic. It's kind of coming probably up to its life. I know everyone's talking about 2027 when things have to be moved. Have there been discussions with the league on, okay, well, maybe there's a cost share here at this point? Have you guys talked about that? And are we going to be probably seeing new turf anyway in the next couple of years?
Yeah, early conversations with the city. Obviously it's a city-owned facility. But you're right. 2027 with the Grey Cup coming as well, you want to make sure your turf is of the highest quality. So I think there's that makes some sense. It'll be 10 years on from when the stadium was built, and so when you look at best practice, that's probably when you're looking at replacing your turf. So I think the timing is going to work out well for the Grey Cup and the potential rule changes coming in 2027.
Yeah, because I had understood it was going in 28, and all you have to really, if I'm wrong, I don't know, maybe you could tell me, but the city was going to put it in 28. All you have to do is move it up 1 year.
Yeah, no, I think the conversations we had with them were they had always targeted 2027. That was the 10-year on. Yeah,
okay.
that was our. Again, these conversations are a couple years old, so things might have changed, but yeah, no, certainly 2027. And I think hosting the Grey Cup probably cements that as a year you might want to do that.
Right.
Let's go back to the preseason game in Saskatoon. Where does that stand? I know we've seen it with the Huskies, and they've hosted a Vanier Cup up there and all that. How many people are you expecting? Do you think you'll get into Griffith Stadium and just everything around it up to this point as we sit here in December? Yeah,
I'm super excited about that. The Huskies have been great partners up there, and Discover Saskatoon have been a big help. The city has been really supportive up there. The university and just in general is super supportive of us hosting that game up there. So really excited to work with the Huskies. We went up there in October, went to their homecoming game to just watch their game day in action, and they put on an outstanding game day. Yeah. So there's a lot we can take from what they do. We, obviously Riderize it. There's some things we'll want to do slightly different or expand on that they already do very, very successfully. So it's got great space though, in terms of standing room only space, and you can fit a lot of people in there. So we're certainly planning to be over 10,000 there. We will try to push the envelope to see how many people we can get in there, because there's lots of excitement up in that market. And it's our last game. It's a second preseason game, and we have that first week bye. You can imagine our starters will get some time in that game. So really looking forward to be up there for that.
Yeah. Okay, this question is from Dave Thomas, the outstanding play-by-play announcer for the Roughriders. He asks you this: what was your favorite moment of the season?
Well, aside from the Grey Cup,
that's from Dave.
Yeah. So obviously the Grey Cup. I wish I could relive that Sunday, other than the fourth quarter, sort of the stress of the fourth quarter. But I wish I could relive that Grey Cup Sunday over and over again. Just seeing the guys celebrate the way they, and accomplish that goal, and like you said, it's so special here in Saskatchewan. We've only had 4, so I'd want to relive that. Labor Day was pretty special. Labor Day is always special when you get that win. But other than the Grey Cup, that West Final, that last clutch drive, needing to score a touchdown to send yourself to a Grey Cup, and Tommy Neal's catch, and the roar of the crowd, that's the thing I'll never forget.
In Winnipeg.
No, here at the Western Final. The roar of the crowd when Tommy Neal made that catch is just something that I'll never forget. And the whole drive, just how nervous I was, and I know the entire province was, and then just to see them accomplish that, and just the clutch catch by Tommy, and just the roar of the crowd, all that. That moment was special. I'll never forget that moment for the rest of my life.
Rob Vanstone would know this best, but that drive was right up there with the drive in '89.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Win the Cup. That is a historical rider drive of all time.
Yeah, it is. It's and Rob and I were talking about this today. It's kind of going to likely be the signature moment in the new stadium, right? Because when you look at that new stadium, lots of cool moments. Brett Lathers, maybe walk-off field goal where he runs to Pill Country, those types of things at Labor Day. But we never had a moment like that in a massive game like that to send you to the Grey Cup. So that's a signature moment that'll be remembered forever.
I think it's that last minute 30 or that last 2 minutes, from what the defense holding. Rourke on the draw, from there, like you said, the roar in the crowd is something that not a lot. I know we got to get you going. You got to move on.
Can't he stay another 2 hours?
Yeah, I just want to get to the gear as I wear that. The last time we won a Grey Cup, there was merch out there and all that. But what Mark does and his team and everything there, it's just another level now. It's clear as day when you walk into the Rider team store, and people from out of town they'll tell me that they'll be like, I had no idea. It's as NFL as you're gonna get for a team store. Numbers wise, can you forecast what that's going to look like gear now with that championship in tow?
It's been nuts. So I'll give you a little fact. On the Monday after the Grey Cup, so we went on the 16th, so it's Monday the 17th. We were selling a championship hat either in store here or at Saskatoon or online. One hat every 12 seconds. So that's what we were moving the Monday afterwards, and it really hasn't slowed down. I was in there on Sunday picking up a couple things for Christmas, and I couldn't believe it. I was there shortly after opening. It was just packed. So it's one of those situations, and we saw this when we launched the Obsidian. They'd literally be taking stuff out of the boxes. Fans would be grabbing it. The same thing are happening right now with some champ merchandise, where they're literally trying to unpack, and fans are just literally grabbing it and heading to the till. So it's been outstanding. And we actually thought the Obsidian line might slow down this year because it was launched last year. Hasn't been the case. It's just continued to go guns a-blazing, and so we're already ahead of last year's merchandise sales, which were the strongest we've had since our centennial, I think. So it's been outstanding.
Do you ever wake up in the morning now at all, Craig, and you wake up, you're just waking up, you're just getting conscious, and ask yourself, did we really win the Grey Cup?
It's funny. I have that all the time. I had that the Monday after the Grey Cup. Even though I was in Winnipeg, I woke up. I'm like, did that just happen? Was the confetti was that just a great dream? And I've had several of that. Especially the first week, you wake up and you're like, did this really happen? Did we really win the Grey Cup? Is the Grey Cup here in Saskatchewan? It's just, it's their pinch me moments and their special moments. I'm just so happy for our fans that they get this after 12 years.
I love the pedal down attitude by the players too. You're gonna win it. Celebrate. Go. Do whatever.
And they took the approach, and Corey, and Jeremy talked to them. You can party for 1 week at the Grey Cup, or you can party for the whole off season. And they took option B.
That's okay.
Last one, because you got to get going. When are you taking it to Foam Lake? Has it been to Willie's Tavern yet?
It was at Willie's. By the way, it was at Willie's in 2014 after the 2013 there. I actually saved it from. I was there with Tyron Brackridge and Taj Smith, and I was like, I better take this because I don't think it's going to end well here at Willie's. So, I haven't. We haven't set the date, but for sure we're going to take it to Foam Lake. I'm going to talk to Corey because Corey at one time said he wants to go visit Foam Lake, and I'm like, there's no better time to go to Foam Lake than as the Grey Cup champion head coach.
Maybe a big senior hockey rivalry night too. To
Flyers,
take it all
maybe we'll hit a Flyers game over there.
Craig, thanks so much for coming in and doing this. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you so much.
Let's go.